Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English, along with my second cousin, Jessica Riesa. Believe it or not, yeah, just found out. Anyway, we just celebrated Thanksgiving, and we actually have some more, few weeks at least, to go before Hanukkah and Christmas, which means, of course, more time spent with families. Now, in most cases, it's actually a wonderful thing, but it also can be filled with a lot of family drama and just a little bit of stress. So here to help us navigate through the holiday season is psychologist Dr. Frieda Birnbaum, and we welcome her back to the show. Hi, Dr. Frieda.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
So good to have you here because this is very important and it's something everybody's going to be dealing with. Let's start off with the basics. Why are the holidays so stressful to begin with? They should be just stress-free, but that is not the case.
No, I wish you were right, but the problems are that we have to think about clothing, food, gifts, travel. All this plays into all of our expenses that we just don't have today. So it's going to be something that we need to navigate our way around all that to make it work.
All right. And, you know, we add to all of those things that you mentioned is that family drama. But why is it always harder to manage during the holidays than maybe other times of the year?
Well, first of all, you're in a small, confined area, which means if you're sitting at the table, and I call it the triangle,
Okay.
that means that each person next to you and the person in front of you are the ones you will be talking to. So be very careful what you will be doing, where you will be sitting, because you're going to be stuck for about an hour.
We're talking
For
about
sure.
no doubt. Those three tips actually to help us cope with holiday stress. As you mentioned, that triangle here. Is it something we do subconsciously, or is it something where, like, we sit down and we got the issues in front of us? Is it good to handle them straight on, or is it just managing them at this point?
You want to relax. This is the time you've worked hard. You went to a lot of trouble and expense. You don't want to have to worry about who's saying what. And then, the second one is pass it on. When somebody's talking to you and they're asking you about your children, where's your next job going to be? Or are you married yet? Or whatever that
Yeah.
kind of pressure is, we have to be able to know that we don't have to put up with that. The next person standing around you somewhere, just take that person, bring them into the circle here and say, excuse me, they won't know the difference and you'll be out of the hot seat. So that's very important to remember when you have an aunt or uncle who asks you questions that are actually too personal.
Yeah. When we're with the family, they think they can do that, and then you're at a group setting, you might not have an answer prepared for that. Why don't you have a baby yet? What's going on? Why you gained a lot of weight? Yada, yada. And they feel that they could do that for some reason, but they would never do the same things to a stranger, which I always found that very interesting. Now, you say
Yes.
you have another tip here. Tell us about that.
Well, the other tip is you can always say, excuse me, I'm going to get a drink. Do you want one? And then on the way, it's not your fault if someone stops and talks to you. So that's another good, wonderful excuse to be able to not take responsibility for continuing a conversation with somebody who seems very intrusive to you. So those are some of the angles that you can really use. Then we have to think about other factors in our lives.
Okay.
What about divorce? What about somebody who is ill? What do you do with those people? The most important thing is to connect. If somebody's divorced and they have children, don't let the children get involved in the conflict. And if somebody's ill, make sure that that person is regarded in some way. Connect virtually or realistically. Talk about memories, talk about celebrating life. You don't have to ignore anything, even if you can't see them one on one. Connecting. And also, it's important to bring somebody in who is alone. Share a meal with them, take a walk and
Oh,
look at the
yeah.
beautiful scenery. You don't have to feel that you're not going to be part of something because of the expense, because of the communication. There are always ways to connect in one way or the other.
Yeah, I agree. And, technology is kind of a long way for that, for sure. You,
Yeah,
you mentioned kids here. I'd like to bring that up. Yeah, let's say you have
yeah.
family function, you have kids. Your kid does something, two sides of that. How do you maybe, I don't want to say discipline, but a kid does something they shouldn't be doing, and knowing that it's your family, what's the best way to deal with that if, say, somebody, your kids or maybe somebody else's kids, does something inappropriate or that they shouldn't have done?
Well, if they do something inappropriate, be careful. You don't want to do something to your children that is unusual for them, because then they will be really even more difficult to discipline. So take them aside. Don't make them ashamed of what they're doing, and just talk to them calmly. But the most important thing is, don't embarrass them in front of everyone
Yeah.
else. Make sure that the children are comfortable. After all, they're sitting for a long time. They're bored out of their minds. They don't know what to do with themselves. So, of course, they're going to act out.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you say that. I was the one embarrassing my family, my kids.
Yeah.
My mom never had to worry about me embarrassing me. I embarrassed her. Dr. Frieda, we love having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining
Thank you.
us. And you always give
My
some great
pleasure.
information and, of course, great advice as well. And if you want more information on Dr. Frieda, of course, you are more than welcome to check out her website and her book as well, Life Begins at 60. Just check out drfrieda.com. We got more Daily Flash and more fun, more trending news and entertainment coming up right here. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Daily Flash.